Hey everyone, Mrs. Sherwood here again with setting as our lesson, and I just want to talk about what our main essential question is for this week. As characters develop throughout the story, what does the setting do in order to invoke the change? So we know that characters help move the plot along, we know that characters change if they're round and dynamic, but what does the setting have anything to do with character development? How does setting help the characters to develop? Well, I'll give you one tip. When the character starts talking about, the environment starting to get a little stormy and dark, you can expect to predict that something bad is going to happen. That's another lesson for another time in talking about illusions and imagery, but just so you know, setting does play a part in what happens to the characters throughout the story. Outcomes for today are all about critically consuming our text, as always, and reading in order for learning and personal growth or enjoyment. Because if the setting is not well developed, then it's usually a very boring book. So setting helps the reader to understand the mood and the tone of the characters. And we know this because you start to feel a different way and the characters almost change. And if you notice the details about the setting, a lot of times authors put that in for foreshadowing moments. So please pay attention to certain setting descriptions. So for example, if the character starts to describe a dark, stormy night, typically something bad is about to happen. And so this picture, I want you to kind of take a moment and just think about it. Just look at this entire picture. Think about how you're feeling and what this picture does for you. Take about 10 seconds. Okay, so something that I noticed from this picture is the red leaves. They're just so vibrant and so bold against the lighter background. I kind of feel like it's the time of season is fall or autumn, and there's definitely a shadow, so I feel like I must be underneath it. And it just makes me feel kind of comforting almost, because red is a very warm color, but at the same time, if I know that this is in autumn or fall, then it might be a little chilly. So I'm getting a little bit of a brisk air against my face. And that's what I'm feeling just from seeing this picture. Well, we know that all novels don't exactly have pictures, and it's up for us as the reader to kind of identify what that picture might be that the author is trying to paint for us. So here's something that I wrote, kind of based off of the picture that you just saw. And so here it goes. The autumn air was brisk as the sun decided to descend. The trees were whistling through the wind while each whistle stung my face ever so lightly. Now just think about that text. If you want to read it over again, go ahead and do so. I'll give you about 10 seconds to do that. And so what you could start to think about is, well, what time of year did this happen? Well, clearly we can see that it happened in the fall. We can also talk about the time of day. Well, we know that the sun, if it's going to descend, we know that it's going down, so it must be nighttime. The trees were whistling through the wind, so they were moving back and forth. And the wind, while each whistle, so the wind, stung my face ever so lightly. It didn't really hurt, it just brisked across my face. So this entire two-sentence description, this sets the scene almost for a nice autumn day, okay? And what I've done here is I've used a lot of comparisons, specifically similes, as I say that's a simile. And then I've also used a metaphor, just talking about how the trees were whistling through the wind. Not only did I make a metaphor, but I also used personification. Trees can't actually whistle, right? And whistles can't sting my face. So I want you to keep in mind those different aspects of setting. So I am actually not going to give you a specific definition of setting today. Instead, you are going to go on a hunt. You're going to conduct a Google search, and I'm going to give you 3 clues in order to get you to a closer definition. So make sure that when you are Googling it, I want you to have a specific question in mind and have a definite answer in order to post to Edmodo. So clue number 1, there are 3 factors in order to determine what the setting is in any story. I did not tell you any of those factors. However, I did show you what it might be. So you have to kind of think about that. Another clue I have for you is each factor allows the reader to find out more than just visual details. So I might be able to show you with my words, but hopefully you'll be able to discover a little bit more from my setting description, and I'm not going to give you a lot of information, so we'll see. In order to find out clue number 3, you need to make sure that you find a complete setting of a story. You need to use all that you have. So maybe using all of your 5 senses, using your concept of time, perhaps. We talked a little bit about that. But I want you to find what 3 factors create a complete setting. Because even in my description, I am missing one key factor. So this isn't even a complete setting just yet. I've got 2 of the 3, but I'm waiting to see what my 3rd one is. And I want you, as my detective, to go on that search. So time is of the essence. Good luck on your search, and don't forget to post your response to Edmodo. Remember, this is going to help you prove how a character has changed throughout the story and how it develops plot movement and keeps the plot going. Okay, setting is so important for any kind of novel. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.